All right, it's been a minute since I've done some updates on here, so just gonna do a quick update here. Maybe build this video out a little bit. We'll see. So, try to zoom out here a bit. See, not much looks different, but there is a lot of work done here. Real big thing here is I cut out the driver floor pan. And the reason for it, if you follow on the Chicago garage and the little shameless plug down here, this was all rotted out. So I cut out my old floor pan, and of course when you cut it out, you're creating a gap that not really good to weld back in place. So that was the floor pan that I replaced 2 or 3 years ago, and I should have fixed this back then. So what I did here was excuse the magnets. What I should have done was fix this beforehand. So all this in here, excuse the noise, all this in here was replaced. So this floor pan here and this floor pan were actually just one complete driver pan. So it included the seat pan, the rear floor pan, and of course the front floor pan with a good portion of the toe board. And of course this floor pan is made by a different manufacturer, and it was a much taller seam here between the floor pan and the trans tunnel. Get rid of that light so it's not making the camera go haywire. So of course when I bought another floor pan, because I knew it was going to have a bad gap, I'm just going to sit that in here, make sure I get this right. And I'm sorry that it's not always looking at what I'm trying to do here. You can see here there's a gap between where this replacement floor pan is and of course the trans tunnel. What I also have here, which is just kind of laying in there, is the replacement toe board, which I only need a section of it. All right, I only need that piece there, as well as I'm going to replace this section and some of this crusty shit down here. So all this is going to get replaced, and you can kind of see it here. That's what this section is. Again, this light is really screwing with the camera, sorry. So that's what that is, and it kind of goes in here like this. It's not going to fit properly until I do some trimming, and I'll probably do that in another video to actually show, you know, people that want to know how to trim up the floor pans, get two pieces of metal to kind of meet together, and how to patch it in, I guess. But you can see here there's this piece, a little bit of angle of it's kind of hard because this has got that EDP coating on it, so it's got the black finish. This slides back into here. So what I'm going to do, you see this is a big honking pan. I don't need a top section. Right. Most of that is actually replaced by my firewall modifications that I've done, which I'll probably get to in another video or something, especially when it's all finished and looks real good. But I do need this section primarily, probably up to around on here, and part of this trans tunnel. Because one of the things that was missing on the old pan, I've got this flipped upside down, is there was no section here that kind of mimics this, right? So if you look at the old, or an original pan, here's the original passenger side. This toe board section here has this butt weld. This pan sits on top of the toe board. And the toe board is only spot welded. You can kind of see these little indentations here. Okay, every couple inches. These are all the spot welds from the factory. So it's spot welded to this, and I forget what it's called, but this is the brace that kind of holds your front forward subframe mounts. And then this, of course, connects to the cowl, connects to your rockers, inner and outer, and then your floor pan. So it kind of sandwiches all together. So, you know, I put this floor pan in. When I was doing so, I had a lot of burn through because this all section here was rotted. You can kind of see how here it's all shitted up, right? Back then, I was just kind of getting into this car, you know, learning more and more about how bad it really was. And I was like, screw it, let's just keep going. And I kept booger welding it all in place until it was nice and solid. And then, of course, I flip the car over and I look, and nice rotted out section. So I've just cut out that rotted piece. I've still got to get this piece out. That's part of it. It obviously overlaps. You can see here there's some spot welds there, right? And then this section's replaced. That is all of this here, right? And of course, it's got a side section here to be spot welded to the inner structure of the car. So let's get back to this a little bit. All right, so we're gonna trim this up here. We're gonna use a little bit of the trans tunnel. Probably not at that much, probably about there or so. So some of this has to come out as well, right? Sorry. Some of this has to come out as well. It's probably gonna be a nice straight cut like this. But if you look here, and I've talked about this someplace, I don't think I got it on a video update. Move it out of the way. So this car originally was a column shift car, and somebody in its previous ownership, there's been a few, put in a B&M ratchet shifter. You know, pretty cool, but they just basically poked a hole to run the cable through the car, and they routed it wrong because it always kind of jammed up when we were trying to put it in gears. And then they just Swiss cheese the rest of the car. That's what all these little holes are, because they kept figuring out where it was supposed to mount. So and they go around the car. It's actually much easier to see it because let me turn that light off. Make it real easy to see. See all the daylight there? That's all the holes, right? And of course they drilled through the top of the trans tunnel and then through that seat brace, or the pan brace is what it's better called. So there's one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 holes in this tunnel, and of course it's not straight. It's got some really bad creases in it. This is actually, that's another hole. Again, JB Weld. I can't keep bitching enough about JB Weld in this car. I keep finding it everywhere, covering up all these holes and shit where the guy didn't know how to weld previously. And every time I turn around, I find more JB Weld in this car. Oh yeah, there's another hole that I just found. Yep, see? JB Weld is not meant to cover up holes. We're gonna cut this piece of the trans tunnel out, and then I'm gonna make a new piece of this trans tunnel, and it's gonna go up to this overlapping section from the toe boards. So with this new pan and this overlap, see here, it's got this overlap here, it's got this crease already built into the replacement portion of it. that'll be a nice section for the toe board to rest on this brace, and then the floor pan to be spot welded to here. So spot weld from the toe board to this inner pan, or the floor pan, to that toe board. And then this will be all fixed. And in doing so, I'll take this pan here, and I'll, excuse me while I just slap it back in place. Magnets are awesome because they hold things where they're supposed to. So when I replace this piece of the trans tunnel, I'll actually come back down to here and butt weld it to this. So that this will all be complete. You can see here, that's a nice big gap. Now I could take and patch that in with another piece of metal. I don't really want to have 4 or 5 different patches here. I'm just going to fix this all at the same time, and it'll still be 3 patches. So floor pan, toe pan, trans tunnel. That about wraps it up. I'll do some video showing how I've got all these pieces mated together, and maybe the welding process, just kind of show some people how to do it and what would be the right way of doing things. But once again, almost done. Oh, what I forgot. In order to do this, I need to cut some of this out to get it to a good spot to patch these 2 pieces together. I gotta take this front jig off. So taking the front jig off means I gotta flip the car back over on its bottom side, then take the front jig off, get this all cut, and then weld it in place, at least temporarily. I can finish welding it back when it's sitting upright. Put the jig back in after I've got it kind of temporary in place, flip it back on its side so that I can at least paint this, right? And it's all ready for paint. As you can see here, it's nice shiny metal except for the spots where the EDB coating is still is. I'm leaving it there until I go to paint. I'm just gonna scuff it up with a Scotch-Brite pad so that, you know, the paint adheres to it real nice. And then I'm gonna spray epoxy primer on it, and then probably a bed liner or something along those lines. And then this will be done, flip it back over, start putting the subframe and engine and trans and everything on the subframe, and then roll it in place and put it back on so that I can actually start getting to the body work of this car, which will take all winter. Now I should be done. Sorry about being long-winded a little bit there, guys. Catch you later.